I have talked about all the valuable information you can obtain by using usaspending.gov databases. This free database houses substantial information about government spending of all types, contracts, grants, entitlements, and you can parse this data in any number of ways. I often use it to research my clients' competitors to see how much and to whom they are selling. But today I want to show you one cool feature of the site. The chart you see is a depiction of contract sales by recipient state since 2000. The vertical axis represents the approximate contract dollars. The color bubbles or circles represent spending on contractors by their home state location. The bigger the bubble, the higher the percentage of contracts compared to the whole. And the horizontal axis depicts the number of contract actions that have been issued, that is, individual orders placed. Below the horizontal axis is the timeline slider, which you can move to control what year you are looking at. Now let's take a quick look at federal growth in spending on contracts from 2000 to present. I will run this from beginning to end, and then I will go back and make some observations. This is the beginning state in 2000, and this is how it grows over the years. Pretty amazing. Now let's take a closer look. Let me show you this in slow motion. As we start 2000, you can see that a few states that have many defense and federal contractors win a higher percentage of contracts. California, Virginia, Texas, Maryland, District of Columbia, and Florida. Towards the end of 2001, of course, 9/11 occurred and there was an increase in spending on homeland security and the outbreak of war in Iraq and Afghanistan. This accelerates rapidly through 2007. In 2008, contract spending comes down a bit as the war in Iraq diminishes. Also, the great economic collapse occurs in the autumn of 2008. In 2009, President Obama comes into office and the Great Recession rages on. While the stimulus bill sent hundreds of billions of dollars into the economy through grants to states and bailouts to companies, the effects on federal contractor growth was not as significant as one might think. There's some increase in some areas, but diminishing in others. Okay, back to 2001. George Bush becomes president, and it's interesting to see what happens to spending on firms from Texas, President Bush's home state, of course. Keep your eye on this orange bubble, which represents Texas. Okay. This may be due in part to cronyism, but of course even more so due to 9/11 and the outbreak of war. It is amazing at how much growth there is in Texas, however. Another interesting observation is that you can see significantly more orders being placed to firms in other states toward the end of 2003. Okay, so as you move across this way, it shows an increasing number of transactions. If you move upwards, it shows the total dollar volumes getting greater. But watch how many states start enjoying more contracts. This corresponds perhaps to the positive effects of federal acquisition streamlining in the late 1990s, which led to a great expansion of the GSA Schedules program in the past 10 years and other similar programs such as the Simplified Acquisition Procedure. Much of this likely benefits smaller businesses, as you can see the number of contract actions grows much more rapidly than the total dollar volume, which means many more smaller contracts are being placed. In 2010 and 2011, you can begin to see a shrinking of federal contracting dollars. This is in part due to a Democratic administration coming into power in 2009. Typically, a Republican administration tends to outsource more work than Democratic administrations. But in this case, the larger reason is likely due to budget wars in Washington, D.C., and the lack of budgets being passed by Congress, which inhibits new program development. One final observation. You may have noticed that towards the end of 2012 and into 2013, federal contract spending seems to have diminished to pre-2000 levels. But this is not the case. This is more due to reporting requirements. You see, the Defense Department is not required to report spending as quickly as civilian agencies, simply to protect operational security. So if you check back in a few months, you will see the updated data. There are many reasons for why spending has grown or shrunk over the years, and you should dig deeper if you want to discern the reasons why. More importantly, I suggest you make greater use of this valuable tool for your own market and competitor research.